Good morning. It is Wednesday, April 6th, 2022, and welcome to another edition of the National Newspaper Publishers Association's Let It Be Known. Code words for Black people at Cracker Barrel revealed racism in the Peace Corps, even as African Americans try and help residents of Ukraine, and the latest on Tory Lanez and why a judge had him handcuffed yesterday. Also, R. Kelly wants his sentencing delayed and claims his former attorneys failed him miserably. All that and more this morning with Anthony Tilghman, the social media maven and photojournalist of the Washington Informer, and Reshonda Tate Billingsley of the Houston Defender. Good morning, guys.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good
Good to
morning.
see you both. We begin with disturbing news out of Tennessee that has brought to the fore a little known fact. Tennessee has moved forward with a bill that would eliminate age requirements for marriage in the state. According to the bill, first reported in Newsweek, the bill would establish common law marriage between, quote, one man and one woman, and does not include a minimum age requirement. That bill has brought to the forefront of this little known but disturbing fact. Currently, child marriage is legal in 44 states, including in South Carolina, Alaska, and Louisiana, where 12-year-olds have gotten married. I'm gonna start with you on that, Reshonda. 12-year-olds getting married. Tennessee passing this bill too. What in the world is going on?
Say this country is run by old white men without saying this country is run by old white men because our priorities are like so jacked up. When you look at all the things that they are trying to focus their energies on, from critical race theory to all of these made up and manufactured crises, the fact that this is even on the agenda is problematic. But again, it boils down to the people in power, the ones that are making the decisions. That's the age of a child is a irrelevant fact. It's absolutely ludicrous that anyone would think this is a good idea.
And Anthony, this is, like I said, a little known fact, but 44 states in America don't have age requirements for marriage.
Well, it's sad that we live in a society where people just they make justifications for themselves, and anything that they do, they have an answer for it. We can't even get a black judge to pass a interview of why she should be a judge when she's overqualified. And the only people that's really saying that she's not qualified are Republicans.
Who is pushing this Tennessee bill?
Exactly. So it's you can see that it all works out against us all the time to be where we need to be.
And Reshonda, another point, Anthony brings up Judge Katanji Brown Jackson, and those Republicans were going after her about being light on her sentencing, which was false, being light on sentences of child sexual assault people, pedophiles. But laws like this sort of make pedophilia legal, doesn't it?
Right. Again, it goes back to where their priorities are. And I would like to see the way they put Judge Katanji Brown Jackson on the hot seat and hammered her with these questions. I'd love to see somebody put them on the hot seat with this issue and have them say it's okay for my 12-year-old daughter to marry a 65-year-old man. It's going to come down to people calling them on the carpet for it.
And make no mistake about it, the 12-year-olds are not marrying 13, 14, 15-year-olds. Right. Just like you just said, it's going to be the 60-year-old man, the 40-year-old man. It's horrendous to even contemplate, Anthony.
Absolutely. I mean, like I said, man, it's just so much going on in the world, and it's the odds are against us to succeed in today's society with racism, with equity and our laws that always go against us.
Yeah, absolutely. Also, this morning, guys, a former employee at a Cracker Barrel in Arizona took to social media to reveal that the restaurant she worked at used a code word amongst coworkers when referring to Black customers. A user by the name of @Cinnamon Honey posted on her TikTok account last week that there is a code word being used by white people to speak about Black people without being obvious about it. In the viral clip, she wrote, "A waitress used to complain so much if I sat quote unquote Canadians in her section. And I was so confused because I thought Canadians were stereotyped as nice." As the short video clip continues to play, it reveals that Canadian was code word for Black people. Cracker Barrel released a statement denouncing this and saying that they were going to investigate. But Reshonda, once again, here we go, right?
Are we really surprised that Cracker Barrel is racist? I mean, like, really, there's going to be people that say this has to do with some disgruntled employees, but this doesn't surprise me at all, especially from a company that has a history of racism among their staffing. And so, again, it's where we spend our dollars. As long as we let our desire for some country fried steak and eggs override what is right and just, then they're going to continue to have these kind of issues.
Yeah, and Anthony, Cracker Barrel has a lengthy history when it comes to racism, right?
Absolutely. I mean, this is not the first time we heard about issues at Cracker Barrel. And like she said, the name speaks for itself. You know, I can't even uh, I don't even want to know what else is going on there in that establishments around the area about code words and attitudes that's going on. As soon as the African American person or any person of color walk into one of those stores, how they are treated and act.
Well, it makes you concerned. You're right, Anthony. You don't want to think about it. If you are Black and you go into Cracker Barrel, Rashonda, shouldn't you be concerned also about your food?
Yeah, I mean, when somebody shows you who they are, believe them. And Cracker Barrel has had a tendency. I hate to paint a broad brush, but the history of this company has shown that that's not a priority. We hear about these type of issues all the time. What we don't hear about is what Cracker Barrel corporate is doing to address them. And as long as we continue to speak with our money by going there, then we're going to continue to see these kind of problems.
Yeah, and in peace and in war, there's always racism, right? Because some corners of social media are in an uproar over the U.S. Peace Corps' guidance on handling racism in Ukraine. Peace Corps positions in Ukraine are currently not open, but Black Peace Corps volunteers who applied were warned to be prepared to be called the N-word and face other racist behavior while in Ukraine, according to guidance on the Peace Corps' website that is currently being discussed all over social media. The warning, which includes personal accounts from volunteers, calls for having so-called thick skin and an understanding that the racial discrimination comes from Ukrainians' lack of exposure to Black people. Um, they're saying that they're putting this all on Ukrainians, but come on, Peace Corps workers got to deal with this. They're going over to help.
See, that's why I know I'm still a work in progress, because the minute I'm trying to give you some water and lead you to safety and you calling me a monkey, I'm looking for a plane back home. But I don't know how we address this global issue of racism and still continue to take the high road. I think it's when it's boiling down to when you're allowing people to treat you like that. That's going to be how they treat you. I couldn't do it, Peace Corps.
Yeah, and you're right. They people of color they said maybe called a monkey or may see children's games with blackface. Joining us now is the president and CEO of the National Newspaper Publishers Association, Dr. Benjamin Chavis. Good morning, Dr. Chavis.
Good morning, and good morning to our guests. Thank you, Stacy. On behalf of the National Newspaper Publishers Association, we're pleased again to have Let It Be Known to discuss the headlines and the topics of the day.
Yeah, and so we're talking about the Peace Corps situation. Anthony, when you first saw this, what was your reaction?
Well, I was just appalled by hearing everything that's going on Twitter these days, social media is is always winning. No matter what topic, is something's going to go on, and I'm just going to do my part from here. I'm going to stay here and support from United States. So I applaud all the Peace Corps workers that's traveling there, and I wish them the best. But I'm going to do my part here and advocate on behalf of the United States.
James, I gotta lift this up because James writes in. He going back to the Cracker Barrel discussion. He says, "I've never eaten at Cracker Barrel. I eat at Denny's." Ha ha. We know James eats at Denny's. Also in the news this morning, young Black Americans are embracing cryptocurrency to counter a distrust in stock markets and financial institutions, according to a new report. About 38% of Black investors under 40 years old own digital tokens, compared with 29% for their white counterparts. The survey was taken by Ariel Investments and Charles Schwab Corporation. Overall, twice as many Black respondents than those who are white rank crypto as the best investment choice overall. Black folks, according to this, Anthony and Reshonda and Dr. Chavis, don't trust the stock market. They do trust cryptocurrency. Reshonda, we'll start with you on that.
I'm all for letting the young people take the lead on this. I want to invest my money in cryptocurrency. I don't understand cryptocurrency, but that is getting all behind these young people and let them lead the way. I do think that it is a good thing to follow and to get into, but this speaks to a larger problem of our young people's distrust of the government in general. And so that's a bigger problem that we have that I'd like to see us trying to focus a little bit more on, giving them that trust into the stock market and into issues. But hey, follow the lead.
Yeah, Anthony, I know you see it on social media a lot about NFTs and cryptocurrency. This idea that African Americans are more trustful of that than the stock market. Your take on it?
Well, crypto is really popular. As you can see, LeBron James is introducing crypto in his school, and it's definitely been trending. Far beyond the whole past year. And African Americans, we are using that advancement to our benefit. We are always, hey, I love crypto. I like the fact that it's so volatile, and I can be a millionaire and then be broke the next day. It's just that sense of happiness, that makes it work for all of us. And I think that crypto is sponsored by the NBA. You know what I'm saying? So we're constantly watching this market, force us to be a part of it. And I think that's what is happening. And us as African Americans, the stock market and crypto and NFTs are just so trend worthy that we're trying to be a part of anything that can help us move to the next level. We're so far behind on advancement in technology and just social status. I think anything that we can do to make money or just move forward is good for us.
Yeah, and Dr. Chavis, Paris Brown of the Baltimore Times writes that crypto is also colorblind.
Well, yes, and it's also global. Keep in mind, you were asking, what can we do to challenge racism on a global level? Well, one thing is to be involved in technologies that transcend race, getting the technical knowledge. And keep in mind, the first brothers and sisters that got involved in crypto in the United States were hip hop artists. And their influence over social media, over the mindset of Generation Z and millennials is enormous, but not just in the United States, but around the world. So I think we all should, no matter what our ages are, should learn more about crypto and try to do. I have sons that I don't have crypto, but my sons do. I finally found out what a NFT is, non-fungible token, and then tried to understand what NFTs play. And of course, one of my colleagues, Russell Simmons, now is very much involved in NFTs on a hip hop perspective. So I think this. I agree with our panelists. This is opening a door And I think that we should pursue, by all means, with all deliberate speed, getting the acquired education, the acquired experience, and hopefully some of the wealth building that's going on, because we are behind. And I think some of the statistics that talked about how much money we spend, some of those statistics are not that accurate. We're still impoverished more than the other communities in our society, and something we have to work on in terms of what do we invest in, how do we invest. We need to reclaim some of the land that we lost over the last several decades, particularly in the Deep South. And there are a lot of issues. There's no one single thing. We have to do, I tell people all the time, we have to struggle for freedom on about 100 platforms simultaneously in real time.
Yeah,
So,
and
and that's where the Black press comes in. And that's why we cover a variety of issues to let our people know how to get on board and whether or not it's safe or sound or productive.
yeah, and Paris Brown says you can borrow and transact globally, but then not everybody's going to agree. David Youngblood said, "I've stuck my toes in the water," and Darnell Henderson says Black Americans need to stay away from crypto. So you're going to get a range of thoughts on that. James Wright says he's old-fashioned. He says save your money in a Black bank and own a business, or get a good job. Pay yourself first. Own your own home. You're gonna get a range of thoughts and opinions
Right.
on that.
Well,
So,
Stacey, I had the real pleasure of seeing David Youngblood yesterday on Capitol Hill. I spent most of my time meeting with members of Congress yesterday, trying to get some public policy that will help our people. But I think that, whenever technology evolves, I remind all of our brothers and sisters that the original innovators in technology were people of African descent. So, we should not see technological development in the financial arena or any other arena to any other group. We have to, basically try to learn as much as we can about everything that we can, and then apply it to helping ourselves.
yeah.
And I think while there's a wide range of view about cryptocurrency, we cannot afford to be closed-minded at this point to anything that may possibly give us a leg of advancement forward.
Yeah. Also, this morning we are talking about Tory Lanez. He was handcuffed yesterday in court and had his bail increased after a judge ruled that he violated the protective order in his case with Meg Thee Stallion for talking about her on social media. The Canadian rapper had a hearing in LA where he was remanded into custody of the sheriff's department, and the judge set his bail at $350,000. Anthony, I know you've been following this real closely. Break it down for us. What is going on here?
Well, he's been tweeting about this case, for a long time, and I think that's his issue. Social media has been getting him in trouble. Back in February, he tweeted about him having two best friends, and him having um a, a a rendezvous with two friends, and it seemed like he was talking about Megan Thee Stallion. And also DJ Academics, he tweeted back in February about the DNA evidence not found in her case. And I think that's where it kind of went downhill for his case, because he's apparently trying to reach out to her, and still talking about this issue as far as the evidence concerned, and this making the case seem very like he's involved. I mean, he's been involved. From everybody knows that he was a part of this, and what he done is, should be held accountable for it. And I think this is what's happening, is that the judge finally seeing that this is ongoing, and he's actually burning it, making it a little hotter than it really is, and is affecting the trial. And I really think that he needs to just take blame for this, and hold himself accountable, and really stop pushing this forward. You know, Everybody deserves justice. Megan Thee Stallion, she deserves justice. And
Yeah.
and what he did, it dishonors our Black women, and
Yeah.
it shows that they, that what people say, should be hold accountable. Like, if that's what happened, and I wasn't there, none of us was there that evening when that incident happened. But hey, he needs to be held accountable, and he needs to stop letting social media justify his actions. And
Yeah.
that's what's happening right now.
So we know that it was about 2 years ago that Tory Lanez, Meg Thee Stallion, and others were exiting a club, I believe,
Yeah.
and there was a shooting, and it turns out, well, Tory Lanez was charged with shooting Meg Thee Stallion, I believe, in the foot or the leg,
Yeah.
in the foot, and so charges were eventually filed against Tory Lanez. Reshonda, you're in Texas, you're in the Houston area. What's the vibe there when it comes to this situation? Meg Thee Stallion, of course, is beloved in Houston. I mean, she's beloved everywhere, but Houston claims her.
Yes, absolutely. That's our hometown girl. The bottom line is he tried to play this out in the media, and he has been warned. They said stay off social media, and he chose to do it anyway. And the judge said you're going to pay a price for it. But I kind of think that he feels like this is just going to help his record, because he smirked as he was arrested yesterday. He smirked to the camera as he was led off in handcuffs, and then he got out and it drove away in his Lamborghini, and he'll probably be rapping about it tomorrow. But as I think the judge is going to continue to have to tell them, I said this doesn't need to be tried in the media, and every time you do it, you will be back here in front of my courtroom.
And Reshonda, I'm gonna stay with you on this question. Where is this headed? What do you see? I mean, obviously, it can go one way or the other, but how do you see, or better yet, again, you know the pulse in Houston. How does the folks in Houston see this turning out?
Well, Meg recently wrote an op-ed on protecting Black women. And right now, again, we're waiting for justice to unfold, to, let it play out how it's supposed to play out. But the people are on the side of Megan, and generally speaking, just because of the what we're reading on social media in terms of the feedback from Lanes and the people that were there that night. This will play out in court. She does have a good team, and I think that people are supporting her. The derogatory manner that Lanes is approaching this with is a turnoff for a lot of people, and he's doing all of this on social media, letting it play out.
Yeah, Dr. Chambers, I know that it pains you when there's any stain on hip hop. You work with Russell on the Hip Hop Summit and other peaceful activities when it comes to hip hop. Just a quick thought from you, Dr. Chavis.
Well, I just remind that the Hip Hop Summit Action, our theme was taking back responsibility. While we support artists' freedom of expression, they have to be accountable for what we put out. And I think that I'm just thinking of a line from the movie Belly. The Black woman is our most respected. If we lose respect for our sisters, which looks like this is the case, then that's not right. You lose self-respect if you can't respect Black women. All of us have mamas. Some of us have sisters and cousins, and we ought to be lifting Black women up, not trying to pull them down on social media or in lyrics or anything else. So I think Megan is going to not just win this legally, but I think she's going to win it socially. And I think that there shouldn't be a contest like this, in my view. I think that whatever happened that night, everybody should be held accountable, and she should get some sense of justice out of it, but also move on. And everybody should learn from this. I just caution using social media to express our anger, our frustrations, our hopelessness. It's a spiral downward rather than something to uplift us as a people. At the end of the day, I think hip hop is a great cultural phenomenon, but in anything, you can always find the negatives and the positives. And I just like to always accentuate the positives. And I think that I agree with our panelists that at the end of the day, we have to respect one another. But to me, respect starts with respecting Black women.
Well, Dr. Chavez, you sort of smile on Anthony Tilghman's face when you mentioned Belly, because prior to us going live, that's one of the things that Anthony was talking about. Anthony, there he is, right? There's the guy who
I mean, Belly was one of the greatest movies of all time. You know, I mean, my man Dr. Chavez talked to DMX. You know what I'm saying? That was one of the greatest scenes of all time from that movie. You know, and my man not even verified on Twitter. Like, come on now. I mean, come on, y'all. Like Twitter, you know, that's a society we need to build right now. It's validation for our legends. You know what I'm saying? You know, Dr. Chavez is a legend, and he can't even get a blue mark on Twitter. You know, that's what I'm talking about. Us moving forward as African Americans. Twitter, do your part, man. Give that man a blue check. He talked DMX, man. I mean, that was one of the greatest scenes of all time. That's all I'm gonna say.
That enthusiasm that you see in right now is what Anthony brings when you mention Belly anytime. So there
you can ask any young person what was their favorite movie, and I'm sure that their top 5 is going to be Belly. Anybody. If you never watched Belly, shame on you.
Well, also in the news this morning, R. Kelly is slamming his trial attorneys for failing to get jurors removed from his case who watched the blockbuster docuseries detailing accusations of sexual abuse of minors against the R&B superstar. He's stuck in jail at Brooklyn's Metropolitan Detention Center and awaiting sentencing. He penned a letter, an affidavit, I should say, to the judge in his case saying his lawyers didn't allow him to even be a part of the jury selection process. He says, at certain points during jury selection, I did hear that some jurors may have seen the Surviving R. Kelly docuseries, and that concerned me greatly. He says, I raised my concerns with my attorneys, but they shooed me off. I was nothing more than a bystander in the process. Of course, R. Kelly was found guilty on all counts by the jury following his 25-day trial in Brooklyn federal court. But with a new lawyer on his case, R. Kelly now argues that 2 jurors who watched Surviving R. Kelly never should have been on the panel. He says there was no strategy involved in choosing the jurors that sat on my jury as far as I could tell. At least there was no trial strategy that involved my inputs. R. Kelly, again, making a bid for freedom, making a bid to have his conviction overturned. He doesn't want them to go to sentencing until he's heard. And so far, he's being shot down by the judge. Reshonda, I'll leave that to you.
You know, hey, the brother got to try whatever he can, I guess. And the judge is, as you said, the judge continues to shoot it down. I think that he's trying to, go explore all avenues. And rightfully so. He's been convicted. They're going to keep shutting him down. But it's no surprise that he is going to try everything he can to get this case delayed or thrown out altogether.
Yeah. Well, Jennifer Bonjean, the attorney who helped win Bill Cosby freedom, is also on the case now for R. Kelly, one of his newer lawyers. And she seems to believe that there was a lot of missteps and mistakes in that case on the prosecutorial side. And so she is seeking to work with R. Kelly on that. We'll see what happens. Anthony Tilghman, the great social media maven and photojournalist and author. Reshonda Tate Billingsley is also an author. She is with the Houston Defender, and she's written some great stuff as well. And Dr. Chavez is an author. So we got authors on this panel. We appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you so much for your input this morning. Thanks for watching. Let it be known, and we will see you tomorrow.